Hey everybody, it's me, Sharp FLA, and I want to do a really quick Blender tutorial on something that really helps me as a 2D animator. It's something that I actually just learned how to do, and it's for aligning the strokes on your grease pencil object to the same plane. So when you're working in Blender and creating with grease pencil, your grease pencil object will align the strokes to a specific plane. And let me show you what that means by entering draw mode on this grease pencil object I just created. So when I draw in grease pencil, I can draw a circle, but because this is Blender and it is a 3D program, this has to be a circle in 3D space. So if I move this way, you can see that Blender has created a number of vertices that align with the stroke that I just made. But if I look at it from here and decide to draw another circle, you'll notice that these circles are on different planes. The strokes are aligned differently, meaning that if I wanted to color this circle, for example, and maybe I was in this part of my scene, I can try and color in this circle. Problem is that the edges are going to be misaligned because my angle was different. The way that I was looking at it was different. And there's a few ways you can solve this problem, but I'm going to show you the way that I just figured out that I think is fairly interesting and could be useful if you're doing bigger projects that have a lot of different moving parts that you want to move around in 3D space. I'm going to create a new camera object. I didn't know you could have more than one camera in a scene up until recently. I create this new camera. I'm going to set all the rotations except the X rotation to 0. The X rotation is going to be set to 90, and I'm doing that over here in the panel on the right side of the screen. I'm going to hit G to transform my camera around the scene, and I'm going to hit Y to lock that transformation to my Y axis. I'm going to actually move it a little bit further back. I'm going to create a new grease pencil object, same way you create any other object in Blender. Shift A. And then I'm going to move that grease pencil object the exact same way that I moved my camera object. Now I have my grease pencil and I have my camera. Next step is I'm going to go into my collections view over in the top right hand corner of my screen, and I'm going to select the new camera that I just made. Make sure you're not selecting your original camera because you don't want to parent that to your grease pencil object. I'm going to select this camera. I'm going to click and hold and drag it over top of my grease pencil object, but don't let go till I tell you to. I'm going to hit shift, hold shift, and then let go over top of that grease pencil, and now the camera is parented to the grease pencil. And what that means is whenever I apply a transformation to the grease pencil object, it's going to apply it to the camera as well. So if I go to this grease pencil and I hit R to rotate it, it rotates the camera. So the reason that's useful is because the one way that you can know that you're getting consistent lines using a grease pencil that are all mapped to the same plane is by going to your camera view. Because when you go to your camera view, you're at the same distance, you're at the same length, everything is matched up consistently each time. But usually, if you're working in Blender using 2D, you want to have some motions attached to your camera. You want to be able to move things within 3D space, which is going to change how your camera view aligns with your grease pencil. So having your grease pencil and your camera attached will make it so that's always consistent. And having multiple cameras means that you can change how that works within your scene. You'll notice one problem with this method. If I hit the Go to Camera View button, which is in the top right-hand corner of my screen in the navigation area, it's going to snap to my old camera, not the new camera, which is the one that I wanted to snap to. The way that I get it to snap to that new camera is by selecting my new camera right over here, then going to the top left-hand corner of my screen and clicking View. Under View, I'm going to go to Cameras, and then I'm going to hit Select Active Object as Camera. Now when I do that, you can see it snapped me to this new camera view, and I'm aligned with the camera that's parented to my grease pencil object. I'm going to show you how this works in just a second. I'll give you a little example. If I click this grease pencil object right here and I go into draw mode, I can draw whatever I want normally. So next I'm going to apply some transformations to my grease pencil object. I'm going to go back into draw mode. I'm going to go into my grease pencil's transformation menu. I'm going to turn on active keyframes for all the rotation and location parameters. I'm going to go to a new keyframe, turn on auto keyframing, and move this around, do some rotations. It doesn't really matter, just something arbitrary. And then I'm going to go to my old camera. I'm going to set it to the active camera once again, and I'm gonna look and see what my animation looks like. And you can see my smiley face is moving around the scene, moving around to these different locations that I want it to. But I realize I want to add a new frame to my smiley face animation. And to do that, I'm going to have to click my old camera and set it to the new active camera again. I set it as the active camera, and I go to the frame in the timeline that I want to add that animation to. And just like adding new frames in any grease pencil drawing, I add it. There we go. I can exit my camera view, click my original camera, and assign it to be the new camera again. There we go. The change in frame happens exactly where I want it to, and everything's aligned perfectly. This has been a really helpful tool for me in improving my animations in Blender. Having things that are lined up with grease pencil is very difficult, especially if you're doing a lot of different character animation and moving things around the scene in a very dynamic way. Having things line up like perfectly and consistently all the time so you can get even lines and even colors is very important to me, and I hope this has been helpful to you. Thank you. I hope you had a good time. Bye.